On the Kane train, he drinks and contemplates the letter Victor blackmailed him with. Flashing back, he recalls interacting with Colin when he was dying. Picking up the letter, Kane reflects on the words about living and dying without regrets. Glancing at the text from Charlie, asking him to stop trying to contact him and Maddie, Kane sighs. Setting up his phone, Kane begins recording a video. He's doing it because tomorrow isn't guaranteed, and he can't risk these words not being said, or more importantly, not being heard. Recording, Kane tells Charlie and Maddie how perfect they were when they were born, recalling that Lily had cancer. Their love made her better. He understands them not wanting to talk to him right now, but he needs to explain why he's done the things he has. Moving to the sofa, Kane talks about being disgusted and disappointed by his father growing up. He didn't want that for Charlie and Maddie. It kills him that he's let them down. Being better meant changing everything about himself, including his name. He built the company Arabesque to create something substantial to leave them. "I did it for you," he insists, saying he now knows that it was selfish and ego-driven. Pacing, Kane admits that once he started finding success, it was intoxicating. He was hooked. He wanted to see how far he could go and how much he could build. He kept secrets and told them half-truths. He didn't anticipate the repercussions. He knows they're wondering why he didn't come forward sooner. It's because the lie became his reality. He was sure reverting to Kane Ashby would bring it all crashing down. Phyllis appears as he apologizes on video. Ducking out of sight, Phyllis listens as Kane ruminates about the promises parents make to their children. "I wasn't there for you guys," he laments. He missed Charlie's graduation and left Maddie after the fire. When their grandfather died, everything changed. He was wondering what the hell any of it meant. What did it matter if he was hiding from his loved ones? They, along with their mom, are all he cares about. "I love you," he signs off. Clearing her throat, Phyllis makes herself known. Kane accuses her of eavesdropping. Phyllis insists she hardly heard anything, but encourages him to send the message. They debate, and Phyllis vows to help him with this. She's sure the siblings will rip the message to shreds when they get it, but it's filled with love and humility, which will get through to them. Kane frowns. "Or it's too little, too late." Phyllis keeps cajoling Kane, who keeps beating himself up. His kids have every reason to judge him. Phyllis pours 2 glasses of booze, and they continue to debate whether Kane should send the message. Kane changes the subject. Did she do the research on AI? Phyllis did, and got into some dark areas. "What are we doing with this?" she wonders, pointing out that you can use an axe to chop firewood or to commit a murder. Kane shrugs that he's not a murderer. Phyllis is relieved. Spotting the letter, she asks what it is. Kane says Victor made his next move and lets her read it. They discuss the chateau in Nice being Colin's last con. Phyllis asks how he knows the letter is real. Kane says it has Colin all over it. If the truth was revealed, it could affect Arabesque. Phyllis asks if he knew Colin did this. Kane sighs. Colin told him he had funds and that it was legit. But his father dying took his focus. He built an empire, but now he's lost his children. It doesn't seem worth it. Phyllis tells Kane to be patient and his kids will come around. On a roll, she also warns him not to contact Lily, ever. Kane says his ex believes he's become his father. Is it true? Have I become the worst parts of the man? More. Ironic twist sends spoiler into cheating scandal. Now behind the bar, Phyllis pours them another drink and advises Kane to shelve his regrets. His plan is inspired, and he needs to let it loose on the world. Kane suggests it was all pretty shallow, along the lines of something Colin would have done. They debate some more. Phyllis warns that sneak attacks happen every day. They have to be ready. Kane marvels, "You really want that job, don't you?" Phyllis declares, "We're business soulmates." Kane wants her to leave, but suggests dinner later there. Phyllis warns him not to spiral. Alone, Kane pulls out his phone and sends the video recording he made to Charlie and Maddie. He flashes to reading Colin the news as he lay in his sickbed. His father, at that point, lost interest in even hearing the rugby scores. Kane asks him to stick around long enough to see them accumulate a few more zeros in the bank account. Colin says he's tired. He urges Kane to get his family back. Colin also asks Kane not to tell Jill how much he loves her. It will make it that much harder when he's gone. He needles his son about whether he'll wait 50 years to make things up to Lily. Kane warns it has to be done the right way. Colin says Dumas was useful, but now he's between him and his family. Kane promises to bury Dumas forever when the time is right and clasps his dad's hand. In the present, Kane throws his glass and smashes it against the wall. Later, he picks up his phone again and calls Phyllis. He tells her he changed his mind. The plan is dead. I'm not moving forward. With that, he disconnects. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Sharon Newman may have 3 fires to put out, so let's talk about how she might take charge when these disasters arise in Genoa City. 1. Sharon marks her territory with Nick when Phyllis gets too close. For starters, Sharon may face a familiar problem when it comes to Nick Newman and their usual romantic obstacle. Phyllis Summers has come between Nick and Sharon in the past, so Sharon certainly won't want her to do it again. Although there'll be some tension between Phyllis and Nick over Victor Newman blackmailing Kane Ashby, that may not last too long. Y&R fans know Nick has a knack for calming Phyllis down and keeping their friendship intact. Of course, there could be issues if Phyllis and Nick's bond threatens to move out of the friend zone like it has so many times before. Sharon may sense that possibility and mark her territory with Nick in the coming episodes. Now that Nick seems more open to rekindling things romantically, Sharon may take control of the situation and refuse to let Phyllis get in the way. 2. Sharon confronts Daniel over making moves on Tessa. Next, Sharon might step up against a threat to Mariah Copeland's marriage. Mariah forced Tessa Porter into a separation, but Sharon may keep hope alive for them to work things out in the end. That can't happen if Daniel Romalotti Jr. swoops in and steals Tessa for himself, so Sharon may intervene if she sees signs of that happening. It's easy to imagine Sharon confronting Daniel if she witnesses a close moment with Tessa. Sharon might push Daniel to back off Mariah's wife and give them a chance to fix their relationship. If Sharon feels like Daniel is making moves on Tessa and creating too much temptation, she may do whatever she can to stop it. 3. Sharon arranges Mariah's legal help. Sharon might also arrange some legal help for Mariah if her stranger smothering secret gets exposed. Michael Baldwin came through for Sharon when she was facing charges over Heather Stevens' grim fate, so she may recruit him to defend Mariah too. Mariah may end up wanting to plead guilty and accept her punishment, but Sharon might beg Michael to get her daughter out of this mess. Michael could potentially go for a temporary insanity defense or another strategy that's focused on all the Ian Ward trauma that Mariah endured. Regardless, you can bet that Sharon will do everything in her power to keep Mariah out of prison. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest Sharon could put out these 3 fires, and perhaps even more, so stick with us for all the shocking news to come. It's all on the line for Kyle this week on Young and Restless, and if our hunch is correct, he'll have to pull out all the stops in a last-ditch effort to save his relationship with Claire. But will his big gamble pay off? Or backfire? If Kyle paid any attention whatsoever to his father's dire warning, he'll have realized that telling Claire half-truths about his time with Audra and Nice is something that could come back to bite him in the behind. Kyle, of course, told his girlfriend the infamous in soaps lie of omission, where pertinent details that could make one look quite guilty are left out of the original telling of the tale. As Jack pointed out, the very act of omitting the details is what eventually comes to make one look even guiltier in the long run. If Young and Restless were a map, Kyle would be at the "you are here" portion of the journey that involves Claire demanding the whole truth and nothing but the truth about what happened in France, as we saw in this week's preview clip. It's going to take a bold move to navigate such a formidable obstacle in his relationship, and Kyle has about 2 options: tell the truth and let the chips fall where they may, or make a move so distracting that his girlfriend forgets all about the pesky details of his visit to Audra's sleeping car that night. Option A shows more respect for Claire, but option B is pretty tempting. And as we all know, Kyle has rarely looked something so irresistible in the face and turned away. That's why we expect him to pull out all the stops to distract Claire from her mission to dig for the truth. If our hunch is correct, Kyle's bold move, as teased in the Young and Restless spoilers, will be to drop to one knee and propose. What could possibly go wrong? Well, in addition to being a sweet young woman in love, Claire is a very smart cookie. Therefore, the risk of such a bold move backfiring is a clear and present danger. If Victor's granddaughter realizes that her boyfriend is using a proposal to try and pull the wool over her eyes further, he'll create a situation where Claire becomes convinced that he did something unforgivable with Audra and is desperate to cover it up. Timing is everything, folks. On The Young and the Restless, Victor Newman shamelessly extorted Kane Ashby. But did he really, or does he not yet know that his plan backfired in the most significant way possible? On Monday's episode of The Young and the Restless, Victor Newman triumphantly gave a letter to Kane Ashby and told him that its contents proved all of his wealth was illegally gained. Victor promised the letter would never see the light of day if Kane promised to do his bidding and help him take down Jabot. Kane confirmed that Victor was indeed shaking him down after he read what was in the letter. The handwritten note was a last will and testament of a woman named Madame de Leon, the former owner of the chateau in France where Kane had been residing, also known as Aristotle Dumas's estate. In the will, she bequeathed her fortune to the love of her life, a man named Lord Jeremy Edgerton. Victor clarified to Kane that Lord Edgerton was an alias of Kane's father, Colin Atkinson, and accruing her money was his last scam. Kane didn't flinch, but on today's show, he shared with Phyllis that the alias came from his father's bookie's name, Jeremy the Edge Edgerton. He didn't know Madame de Leon, but felt disgusted that his father had scammed her. Phyllis told him he had no proof of that, and they could have been in love, or at least she felt loved when she died. But before Phyllis came over, Kane reread the letter, and there, at the end, may have been a coincidence, or maybe it was the biggest clue to a massive spoiler to this entire storyline. Disclaimer: you may want to stop reading here. Above all, I leave you my unending love. May we find each other in the next life as we did this one, always remembering what truly matters is the secret to dying without regret. Kane read in a letter by Madame de Leon. But that was not how she signed it. She closed the letter with, "Your everlasting Genevieve." Stop the presses! Kane was so distressed that his kids hated him that he didn't put much stock into the details in the letter. And that, my friends, is where we come in. Kane told Phyllis that his father gave him the startup funds for Arabesque, but had promised the money was legit. Kane now thinks his dad was lying, but was he? What if Colin had changed and was being honest about the money being a true gift? Given the words in Genevieve's letter, dying without regret was something she and Colin had talked about. Was the inheritance a plan all along? You see, Kane's dad was Colin Atkinson, but his mom was Genevieve. She was well aware of Colin's scams, but she, too, wasn't adverse to using aliases herself. Kane claimed that his dad had spent the end of his life righting his wrongs. Was Genevieve one of them? Did Colin use the alias of Lord Edgerton so that he and Genevieve could live in peace in the French Riviera? And did he actually love her until the day she died? Did he promise his wife that he would use the inheritance to help their son Kane rebuild his life and make his own atonements? Maybe, just maybe, it's Kane who actually has the upper hand right now against Victor. He just hasn't realized it yet, since he's wallowing in despair about Lily and his kids. Of course, it could all be a coincidence. And even if it was the twist Kane didn't see coming, would he use it against Victor? He could view this opportunity as a means to prove to Lily and his kids that he really is the good person he so desperately wants them to see him as. Bonus clue: Colin was a smart man. If he scammed an unknown woman named Madame de Leon, why on earth would he have left the evidence sitting around in a box of other memories for someone to find? Listen, we love The Young and the Restless, but the lack of on-screen substance in the soap lately, not so much. The cardinal rule is show, don't tell, but the show has drifted into an ongoing format that mostly consists of talk. Not only does this negatively impact the daily drama factor, it's particularly disappointing when plots that would be emotionally impactful play out off-screen. Why hide the good stuff? Mariah has split from her wife, and seemingly believes she committed a murder, but we've only seen glimpses of her agony on screen. At this point, it's been a couple of weeks since we even laid eyes on her. We're watching Tessa grow closer with Daniel, but no reaction from Mariah. Perhaps the writers want Mariah out of sight, out of mind, so viewers will invest in Tessa and Daniel's relationship. But this creates a problem because we care about Mariah and what she's going through. Ignoring her emotional journey creates a disconnect that doesn't serve the audience or the story. Young and Restless dissed legacy character Chance Chancellor and fans when they decided to kill him off and not even bring Nina and Jill back for a funeral in Genoa City. We didn't even see Abby and Dom. Even those on screen didn't react appropriately to his death. Billy was all business, and Sharon, who once cared deeply for Chance, was written as though she'd hardly known him. Adding insult to injury is that the funerals of two other characters took place off-screen as well, in favor of repetitive, droning business talk. We're here to laugh, gasp, and cry. To feel. Why is the big emotional stuff being sidelined for musical CEOs? Kane Ashby has been off-screen for 6 years, and yet the whole show is somehow revolving around him now that he's returned with a new face. The same is true for his children, who remain off the canvas, even though much of the conversation on Young and Restless the past week has centered on their off-screen reaction to their father's deception. It's a bizarre choice that's left many questioning the writer's thought process. The story is not resonating on a number of fronts. Maddie and Charlie are not even on the canvas, and here we are trying to muster up sympathy for them because... Checks notes. Niste, their father became a billionaire? It's not exactly tugging at our heartstrings. Adding to the issue is that New Kane's entire story played out off-screen. Therefore, it's tough to jump back into caring about him, let alone his grand takeover plan. So far, it's Tucker McCall all over again. Bring on a daytime vet as a recast, plunk them on the front burner, and have them make vague threats toward all the business types in town without anything ever happening beyond endless talk. The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that the CBS soap is adding Tamara Braun in the new role of Sienna Bacall. So let's talk about when this Days of Our Lives and General Hospital alum will make her debut. According to People, Braun will start filming during the week of September 5th, so her first air date will happen a bit later this fall. When Braun appears in Genoa City, she'll be playing an intriguing woman named Sienna Bacall. Sienna will have several personal connections on canvas, so look for her to be linked to multiple characters. It'll be interesting to see who Sienna's first love interest turns out to be and which storylines she might shake up. Tamara Braun has certainly made a name for herself in the soap world over the years. Most recently, Braun was seen portraying Ava Vitali on Duel, where she made her last appearance back in April. Braun also had an earlier run on Days as Taylor Walker. GH fans will recognize Braun as the former Carly Corinthos and from her run as Dr. Kim Nero. Of course, longtime soap fans may remember Braun from her days of playing Reese Williams on All My Children. Y&R managed to snatch up Billy Flynn to play a Kane Ashby recast earlier this year. Days also lured Connor Floyd to portray a Chad DiMera recast, so he'll make his first Days appearance in April 26. Now Braun is the latest daytime drama star to find a new soap home, so she'll be joining fellow Days alum Flynn. Considering the action in GC mostly revolves around Kane lately, there's a good chance Sienna Bacall will have some sort of history with him. Whatever the case, it'll be fun to see Braun tackle this new character and make a splash in Genoa City. Are you looking forward to Tamara Braun's Y&R debut? The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sienna will bring some excitement to town, so stick with us for news related to her character. Fans of The Young and the Restless were bestowed an honor today, being graced with the final television appearance of actor Tristan Rogers. On The Young and the Restless, the main story for almost the past year has been centered around figuring out the identity of the mysterious billionaire Aristotle Dumas. After a dramatic entrance, it was revealed that he was none other than Kane Ashby. The legendary role had been recast, with Billy Flynn taking over as Kane, formerly played by Daniel Goddard. But no one, viewers or anyone from Genoa City, could speak to or about Kane without associating him with his father, Colin Atkinson. Some wondered if he would return to the role, but then Kane revealed that his father had passed. No one was sure if it was true or, as Lily accused, if it was even really true he was gone, given all of Kane's lies. On July 17, 2025, actor Tristan Rogers made a special guest appearance on General Hospital, surprising viewers in his longtime role as Robert Scorpio. "Hello, love," he said as he greeted Sophia Matson, who played his daughter Sasha. Rogers starred on GH as Robert from 1980 to 1992, making several reappearances before officially returning from 2018 to 2024. It was an endearing and treasured moment, as on that same day, the actor revealed to fans through his agent that he had cancer. A month later, on August 16, 2025, Rogers passed at 79 years of age. Until now, fans believed that was the last scene that they would have been able to see of the beloved actor, but today, viewers of The Young and the Restless were surprised with more. On today's Y&R episode, Kane flashed back to his last moments with his dad, Colin. Rogers gave his son some advice that he took to heart, and also proved that his father was a changed man, a legacy he is insisting on preserving. It was a treasured moment by Kane, if not a game-changer. But for fans of Tristan Rogers, it was everything. Last night, actor Billy Flynn, who now plays Y&R's Kane Ashby, posted on his Instagram stories, "Tomorrow is a very special episode. I didn't know Tristan as well as Daniel or the rest of the cast that were lucky enough to know him over the years. I am grateful and honored I'd have worked with such an amazing man and brilliant actor." Jess Walton also prefaced a touching Instagram post in Rogers' memory, sharing that she had been in LA recently and, luckily, was able to pay this tribute to Tristan. "You are already so missed." The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Kane Ashby may double-cross Victor Newman. Will Kane help Jack&Jabot strike back against Newman Enterprises in the end? Y&R fans know Victor is now blackmailing Kane, who obviously doesn't appreciate being backed into this corner. However, Amanda Sinclair is set to return before the week of August 25 to 29 is over, so her comeback could be a game-changer depending on what she's able to pull off. Kane may task Amanda with getting him out of this jam, whether that means disproving Victor's claims about Colin Atkinson's final swindle, or perhaps digging up dirt to force a blackmail stalemate. Whatever the case, Kane's latest epiphany could play a role in what comes next as well. In the August 26th episode, Kane flashed back to Colin pushing him to bury Aristotle Dumas once and for all, which led to Kane calling off all his takeover plans in Genoa City. Of course, it's possible that Kane will change his mind, especially with Phyllis Summers whispering in his ear and being the devil on his shoulder. That said, it's also possible this will mark a turning point for Kane. Perhaps Kane's plans could truly change and lead to him fighting for good, since that's the kind of thing Lily Winters would approve of. Victor is resorting to extortion to control Kane and force him to team up against Jabot. Maybe there's a way for Kane to turn things around and become a true ally for the Abbotts instead. Kane will give Billy Abbott updates on a scheme soon, so Billy will share the news with Jack as well. Could this involve the first rumblings of Kane's plan to double-cross Victor and sink any Newman plot against Jabot? There must be a reason why Adam Newman is so worried about this insincere alliance with Kane and all the ways it could go wrong. The fact that Adam thinks it's going to backfire probably means that's exactly what's going to happen. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Victor may be surprised by some of Kane's upcoming moves, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, August 27th, reveal that Nick Newman will face an ex-crisis while Nate Hastings struggles with second thoughts. Lily Winters will also find that she can't shake Kane Ashby and all the memories they shared. So let's talk about the drama ahead in Genoa City. Now that Audra Charles has dumped Nate instead of coming clean, Nate will mull everything over and fear that he made a mistake. As Nate reflects on his relationship with Audra and how it ended, he'll make an admission to Devin Winters. Nate can't know for sure that Audra's lying about what happened with Kyle Abbott. That's why Nate may be tempted to apologize to Audra and repair the damage. Devin will probably urge Nate to listen to his original gut feeling and stop second-guessing himself now. Even so, Nate's feelings for Audra run awfully deep and may convince him there's something to salvage here. Over with Lily, she'll wrestle with her feelings for Kane as well. Despite Lily's best efforts to put Kane behind her, she'll find herself remembering their past together on Wednesday's Y&R episode. Lily and Kane certainly had some rocky times together, but they were madly in love once upon a time. There'll be some bittersweet reminders as Lily recalls her history with Kane, so she won't be able to ignore how much she misses what they used to share. Meanwhile, it looks like Phyllis Summers will confront Nick about Victor Newman's blackmail. Now that Victor's holding leverage over Kane's head, Phyllis isn't happy about it and may blast Nick as a result. Nick will try to smooth things over with Phyllis in Wednesday's show, especially since he still needs her help with the Kane alliance. Of course, Phyllis will have much bigger issues to worry about when it comes to Kane and his sudden desire to scrap his whole scheme. It'll be up to Phyllis to change Kane's mind and convince him that his plans for Genoa City domination are the way to go. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis may help Kane make some updates to his point of view, so stick with us for more news on what the future on Y&R holds. Two-time Daytime Emmy winner Tamara Braun, best known for her roles as Ava on Days of Our Lives and as Carly on General Hospital, is joining The Young and the Restless. People reported that Braun was coming to Genoa City as Sienna Bacall, someone who has personal connections to several characters on the show. The actress is set to begin taping next week and will make her debut in the fall. Braun first made the soap opera scene in 2001 when she did The Impossible, stepping into the role of Carly Corinthos, previously played by three-time Daytime Emmy winner Sarah Brown. After moving on from Port Charles, Braun joined the cast of Days as Ava Vitale. Braun won her first Daytime Emmy in the category of Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series in 2009. Ava was killed off a few times, but the show resurrected the character, returning her to the mix as Ava continued to show strength and vulnerability. She left Days earlier this year. In between Salem Stings, Braun returned to GH in 2017 as Dr. Kim Nero, the role that won her second Daytime Emmy. Now, Braun is adding a CBS soap to her resume as Sienna. What might the new character be tied to? Perhaps Sienna is related to Sage, Christian's late mother. Nicholas has mentioned that his son is off at basketball camp, so we're guessing that he is going to be aged at some point, as most soap opera youngsters are. Perhaps Sienna will be connected to the Abbott clan? Could Sienna be a long-lost love child of Jack's, or even the late John's? Another possibility is that Sienna could be connected to Kane. Kane has been off the canvas for many years. He may have had a romantic dalliance with Sienna while he was building his fortune as Aristotle Dumas. Braun counts All My Children among her series, too. She played Reese Williams on AMC, Bianca's sister. The characters made TV history by becoming the first two women who were married on soaps. Young and the Restless. 2-week spoilers for OG 25, Septi 5, 2025. See, Adam Newman is really questioning the wisdom of something, and Sally Spectra is in a little bit of a panic. On Monday, August 25th, Billy Abbott's private investigator lets him know that Kane Ashby is having a private meeting with Victor Newman. Sally, however, thinks having Kane tailed is going to backfire on Billy. Of course, he won't listen, and is quite certain that he is going to get something he can use against Kane to help Jack Abbott protect Jabot. Meanwhile, Billy spends some sexy time with Sally and tells her she's going to be a superstar running AbbottCom. Lily Winters aggravates Holden Novak by haranguing him about working with Kane when she said, "Don't do it." Lily is all over him about betraying Damian Kane and not taking a job offered at her company. Holden says Damian dropped him for Nate Hastings and tells Lily that Kane really loves her. Lily doesn't let up. She's pressuring Holden to tell her Kane's plan, and he simply doesn't know it. Kane tells Lily that the Dumas persona was to protect his real ID in case he failed. He really wanted to prove to Lily he could succeed, but she tells Kane he's a bad dad and needs to rethink his life before Lily says they're done and stomps out. Nick Newman and Adam disagree about Victor's plan to ally with Kane. Nick says Victor got a secret weapon. but Adam thinks Kane is too tricky to fall for it. Nick reminds them they have to fight Kane because he's after Chancellor. Nick doesn't want to target Jabot, but he realizes they have no choice and tells Adam he needs to have faith in their dad. Kane tells Victor there's no deal because of the hit piece they ran in Newman Media. Victor makes Kane an offer he says he can't refuse. So, Victor is going to expose that Kane's seed money came from a con that Colin ran on the old lady who owned the chateau. Victor insists the money was dirty and shows him the will, saying he'll out it. Kane says it's no big deal that Colin inherited money, but Victor says it'll ruin his reputation. Kane acts like he has no choice but to cave and take Victor's deal to be an ally, but we'll see if that's how it really goes. On Tuesday, August 26th, we've got Kane opening up about where he's been over the past 6 years and exactly what he's been doing. He left Genoa City in a cloud of shame with an illegitimate child he made while cheating on Lily, only to come back as this big, bad billionaire. The question is, who is Kane talking to? He may be telling Lily, but I doubt it because I don't think she wants to hear his stories. He may be telling Victor because they're already having a conversation on Monday. Or maybe he's talking to Phyllis Summers, or even Billy. We do know that Kane and Billy meet and have a nice long chat this week. As a matter of fact, Kane has a bunch of different meetings, including with his lawyer, Amanda Sinclair, who is back in town later this week. Really happy to see Michelle Morgan back on Young and the Restless. On Wednesday, August 27th, Nick is trying to make amends with Phyllis, who was very annoyed with Nick when he was prodding her about Kane and making accusations. Phyllis got this weird feeling that Nick was somehow asking her to spy on Kane for him, which also means for Victor. We know how Phyllis feels about Victor. I think he could be on fire, and she would not urinate in a glass and pour it on him to put him out. She really hates Victor. And given what's gone on with them in the past, I don't blame her. So, Phyllis may think that Nick is again trying to play her or play Kane and get her to play a role in that. She's not interested. Phyllis is loyal to Kane, at least for now. I do wonder how Phyllis is going to react when she finds out Nick and Sharon Newman are in the process of reuniting. She gets so jealous about them, so Phyllis might be peeved. Lily gets a reminder of her history with Kane. I wonder if Lily is apathetic or if she is missing the past. Also, I want to know why we haven't seen or heard much about Kane's third kid, Sam, I think was his name, the baby that he left town with 6 years ago. It seems like he should be with his dad. We've not heard one peep about that I can recall. Drop in the comments if you remember. Is he off at boarding school? Did the kid drop dead? We don't know. Have they erased the kid from his history? Because they've erased his age and a lot of other things. Meanwhile, Nate admits something to Devin Hamilton on Wednesday. Nate may be doubting how he handled things with Audra Charles, but of course, Devin and Lily both think Audra is no good. Maybe tells Nate, just go talk to Victor. Ask him if there really was this deal. He'll tell you. Thursday, August 28th. We've got Victoria Newman worrying about her daughter Claire Grace Newman's future, and she may be doubting whether Kyle Abbott overstepped with Audra, as we all know he actually did. Nikki Newman and Victoria Newman are both talking to Claire on Thursday, and they could be suspicious of Kyle because Nikki saw Kyle and Audra being all flirty in France. That might be what prompts Claire to confront Kyle, because this week, Claire asks Kyle if there is anything he has held back about what happened between him and Audra in France. Anything at all. Victor and Jack are arguing about family. I wonder if Victor and any of the Newmans are crashing the Abbott.com launch party, or if maybe they were actually even invited. Kyle makes a bold move this week. I wonder if he's going to come clean to Claire Grace, or gamble and tell her a partial truth, or an outright lie. On Friday, August 29th, we've got Billy giving Jack some scoop he got about Kane and exactly what is going on. So, Billy and Kane do talk this week, and then Billy goes back to Jack with this info. I just wonder if Kane is setting Jack up by feeding Billy some false facts. Amanda is back in town by the end of the week, and she gets a new task from Kane. Nikki's making a big move at Chancellor, and I wonder if it has anything to do with Victor's new deal with Kane. The week of September 1st through the 5th, we've got Amanda in for a shock. I do wonder if Kane's going to tell her, look, Victor has found out this info about Colin and the inheritance, and he's blackmailing me. I wonder if Amanda can help sort that out. Claire is going to make a difficult decision soon. Obviously, it's about her relationship. Nate reportedly also makes a difficult decision about his relationship as well. Kyle may be raging at Audra by the time we're into these episodes if he loses Claire because of Audra's scheming with Victor. Kyle is going to come unglued, and he's going to hate on Audra, but hopefully no hate sex between them, though. Jack and Billy get busy plotting. After Jack hears the info Billy gives him about Kane, they need to decide how best to protect Jabot. But I am wondering if Kane is playing them, or maybe he is offering them real intel and he's playing Victor. Plus, Holden has cause to be hopeful, with Claire getting upset with Kyle. The Young and the Restless spoilers update for Tuesday, August 26th reveals that Sally Spectra will have a reason to worry as Billy Abbott goes digging for more information. Kane Ashby will also open up on Tuesday's Y&R episode, so here's what viewers can look forward to. Once Kane wraps up his blackmail meeting with Victor Newman, he'll get pulled into another meeting soon after. This one won't be as tense, since it'll be more about Billy making Kane his pal and offering up an alcoholic beverage. Billy might commiserate with Kane about their mutual disdain for Victor, though Kane may not share the details of Victor extorting him. Whatever the case, Billy will try to ease Kane into trusting him a bit more and hope he'll offer additional info. Once Billy subtly digs for details, Kane will open up about the last 6 years and how he spent it. Although Kane regrets hurting Lily Winters and the kids with his deception, he felt the need to keep his new empire separate out of fear of failure. Kane will talk about living away from Genoa City and perhaps discuss the adjustment of coming home again too. By the end of this conversation, Billy may hope to establish a solid alliance with Kane that the latter can count on. Of course, Billy will secretly be plotting to help Jack Abbott and protect Jabot, as well as pursue Chancellor for himself. That's why Sally will be on edge if she gets updates on this Billy and Kane bonding session news. It's clear that Sally has some concerns about Kane and what he's capable of. Sally also knows Billy tends to take too many risks, so she'll have a good reason to worry on Tuesday's show. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sally will continue to fret over what Billy's getting himself into, but she'll make time to concentrate on the launch party that's coming up soon. Who is responsible for the tension on the set? Peter Bergman has been playing Jack Abbott on The Young and the Restless since 1989, but his early days didn't go smoothly. For Alina Adams' just-released book, Super Soap Scenes, a time capsule of daytime drama's greatest moments, the 3-time Emmy winner recalled what went wrong and who was to blame for it. Read an excerpt from the book of Bergman's confession below. Please note, Soap Hub may earn a small commission if you purchase items through these links. To me, the most fantastical thing that happens in daytime television, not regularly, but often enough that we've all seen it happen on every single daytime show. One day, one actor is on, and the next, there's another guy on, saying he's Jack Abbott. That it ever works is extraordinary to me. It is unbelievable to me that the audience ever makes that transition. Surprise, surprise. They sometimes make that transition easier than the actor does. I get to work at my new job, and everyone knew Jack Abbott better than I did. Every prop guy, every lighting guy, everyone knew Jack Abbott and how he would react. I found it initially pretty threatening. I had to decide to make this my own. Yes, Terry Lester found Don Diamond's Brad Carlton an annoying pool boy. But I decided I could not stand to be in the same room with Brad Carlton. I disliked him and what he brought to my sister's and my family's life. He was the pool boy. Similarly, by the time he left, Terry Lester's Jack found Jill just a bother. But I decided that Jill was the one person whom Jack kind of met his match with. In a freezing cold cabin, in the winter, as they were thrown together, he underperformed. I made this up. I made all of this up. But it made Jill somebody Jack did not want to be left alone with. So now, we move on to Victor. Eric Braeden Etanchon. Braeden, at the time, was less than welcoming. He liked Terry Lester. He liked the way Terry Lester played Jack Abbott. The Jack that I played was considerably less cavalier about his relationship with Victor. Eric didn't know who I was, and he didn't much care. It put a tension on the set almost my first week. It was clear this was going to be harder than I thought. That's how this enmity that I share with Eric began. It wasn't a giant leap. It wasn't a huge reach to have some confrontational scenes with this fellow. He clearly didn't want to even look at me. I couldn't get eye contact from him. They keep sending me in there. Jack comes in loaded for bear. The door blows open, and Victor is calm as can be. All of his lines where he's supposed to be yelling back at me, he's not yelling at all. He's sitting there, musing, amused by this crazy man that just walked into his office, which only made me more pissed off. Keep in mind, I'd come from 10 years on another show. I came from playing one of the nicest guys in America, Cliff Warner on All My Children. I'm a trained actor. I wasn't a model who was discovered in a drugstore. I did my share of acting. I have my share of Shakespearean background. I had some tools to bring with me. Before Cliff Warner, I always played the snotty rich kid. The pompous scion to the family fortune was not new to me. I had done this in the theater. I had done this in other things. But coming to play Jack&Jabot in this environment, with all these people who'd been here for a long time, who knew exactly what they were doing, one thing I knew, Jack was cocky, very cocky. It's quite possible that, in my interpretation of Jack, Peter Bergman came off a little cocky to Eric Braeden, so I will take some real responsibility for that tension that was there. What happened next? Where does Peter and Eric's relationship stand now? And what did the fans pick as Jack and Victor's greatest confrontation? Find out in Super Soap Scenes, a time capsule of daytime drama's greatest moments.